Right next door, like it could have been anybody kids on this block.
I looked and there's just cops everywhere.
A man in his 40s accused of meeting a 13-year-old girl from Garden City on social media, then bringing her back to his Detroit home where she called a family member for help. When the cops arrived, police say the suspect shot himself. He's in critical condition and the girl is safe, reunited with her family.
He didn't seem like that type of guy to do that type of stuff, so this is shocking.
Especially because neighbors tell me there's a bunch of children who live on this block of Penrod, just south of Warren Avenue on Detroit's west side, and the man accused of meeting up with a minor seemed unassuming.
He was around, like he was a nice guy, and I guess you can't trust everybody.
Yeah, that's the scariest part, is the number of kids around here. I mean, there's teenage kids, there's little kids, and I mean, they're out here, you know, this is still a good blue-collar area where kids come outside and play with each other, you know, out on front lawns and in the street. So to think that there was a predator is very scary.
And a reminder to pay attention to your children's social media. Police say the two became friends online before the plan to meet up.
You just have to watch your kids and what they doing on the internet.
Police say that the suspect is still in critical condition. The prosecutor's office is going to be reviewing this case to see any potential charges.
13-year-old allegedly kidnapped from a Garden City area by a man she met on social media.
And thanks to that quick-thinking teen and her mother, police were able to track them to a house on Detroit's west side. And that's when the suspect reportedly shot and injured himself. Thank you for joining us for 7 News Detroit at 5. I'm Glenda Lewis.
And I'm Simon Shakett. This is a very disturbing case that has a lot of people talking tonight. It has more from concerned citizens about how the man allegedly lured the teen.
A 13-year-old girl is home safe with her family after police say she was allegedly kidnapped from Garden City by a 49-year-old Detroit man who brought her to this home on the city's west side. As the police entered the home just before noon on Monday, the suspect shot himself and still remains in critical condition.
All the neighbors were out. There was a woman out here crying, you know, that her daughter had been taken. It was pretty chaotic.
Thomas Zott lives a few houses away from the crime scene.
There's a lot of families around here. There's a lot of kids around here.
I knocked on the door to speak to someone at the home where the police were seen investigating the incident on Monday, but no one answered. I spoke to other neighbors, including Clarence Perry, and they all shared concerns.
As a parent, what are some of the questions that are going through your mind as of right now?
We have to be more cautious and stuff and more involved in our kids' lives, especially when it comes to social media, instead of just waiting until something like this happens.
The police say the 49-year-old Detroit man befriended the 13-year-old from Garden City on social media and arranged an in-person meeting Monday morning. The suspect picked up the child and brought her to the Penrod home located on Detroit's west side. Once there, the teen informed her mother, who around 11 a.m. alerted the Detroit Police Department. Just before noon, officers made contact with the suspect, who then fled into a back room of the house and shot himself.
As a parent, you know, it's horrifying that these things happen, but at the same time, I'm very sympathetic to parents because it's so difficult to monitor all this stuff.
Besides being a mom of 3 daughters, Stephanie Preston is also a professor of psychology at the University of Michigan.
What kind of conversations do you think parents and kids should have?
I think a lot of times people avoid talking about things that are uncomfortable or difficult or involve, you know, sexual themes, but you kind of have to just get into it, because only then are they going to really let you in on something like this going on in their life.
What can parents do to better educate their kids, or perhaps educate themselves?
One, to talk about the specific ways in which people are being entrapped, and even sort of monitor your kids' online activity and making sure, you know, they're not feeling susceptible to somebody who's going to compliment them in a way that will allow them to do something they shouldn't do.
Now, most of the people that I spoke to rarely saw the suspect out and about, but one tells me that he moved into this home a few months ago.
We're definitely glad that that little girl made it home safe with her family, and this predator is on his way to where he should be. But I'll say this, I'm for one, wishing he would have went on ahead and finished himself. Next story.
This week, a Prince William County grand jury is expected to decide if a Manassas mother will go to trial for murdering her husband. Police say LaToya Crabb shot and killed Curtis Crabb in her family's home back in October.
But LaToya's mother says there's a missing piece to what happened. She alleges her daughter acted in self-defense. And for the first time, we're also hearing from LaToya since her arrest.
LaToya's mother says this is a case of a woman defending herself and her family. We were just about to interview her when her daughter LaToya Crabb called from the Manassas jail. She did not talk about the case, but she did have this to say.
Oh, that's my daughter.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from William Crabb, an inmate at the Prince William Manassas jail.
For the first time, we're hearing from LaToya Crabb, accused of shooting and killing her husband in her family's Manassas home.
This whole process has been frustrating and overwhelming, and my children are suffering for me being here, trying to prove my innocence. But it's a long process to prove that point.
The point LaToya is trying to prove is that she shot the father of her 3 children in self-defense.
I know my daughter. I know people say that. I know my daughter. She would never hurt anybody. But her life was on the line. It was either her life or his life.
LaToya Crabb is charged with second-degree murder.
They're alleging that she reloaded the gun, and that's why they've denied bond twice.
Right.
What do you respond to those allegations?
Maybe she did reload, and she shot him as many times as it took to stop the threat.
Curtis and LaToya got married in 2019 and were raising their children in the lower level of her parents' home. LaToya's mother, Marilyn Martin, says things changed when her daughter asked Curtis for a divorce in August.
There were red flags that I saw that I didn't like. But I don't really get into my children's relationship.
Martin says one of the red flags came after she served Curtis a 30-day notice to vacate the home. She says her son confronted his brother-in-law about not taking care of his children.
She came to me that night and said, "Why did he say that? Are y'all trying to get me killed?" And that it took me back, and I'm like, whoa, she's never used that language.
Martin says the second red flag came 2 days before the shooting, when Curtis allegedly sent her daughter a series of text messages that read in part, "Answer my call, or I'm going to go to the house and punch your mother in the face," followed by, "I will hurt everyone in that house," then set it on fire, and finally, "I'm taking the kids. You will never see them." Martin says her daughter was experiencing domestic abuse.
Why didn't she do something? Well, she did. She prevented those 5 murders.
Manassas City Police say they do not have records of them responding to domestic violence calls in the family's home prior to the deadly shooting. Martin says that morning, her daughter tried contacting a domestic violence group who sent her this alleged text message that reads, "Currently, we're experiencing unusually high wait times and have limited availability for live services."
You can't judge what you would do if you're not in that situation.
We reached out to the Prince William County Commonwealth's attorney for comment. She tells us that in order to ensure a fair trial for the defendant, her office will not comment on pending cases. We also tried reaching out to Curtis Crabb's family multiple times, but we did not get a response. An online memorial describes him as a dedicated family man and a proud, loving, and doting father to his children.
For the first time, we are hearing from a Manassas mother of 3 who is accused of fatally shooting her estranged husband. LaToya Crabb arrested and charged with murder in October.
She was just reunited with her family after she was released on bond, and she has more on her emotional reunion, but her attorneys advised that she not talk about the specifics of the case.
LaToya Crabb's first steps out of the Prince William County Jail in 4 months, walking straight into the arms of her mother, the tears starting even before the hug.
I saw her to the side and immediately started crying. I could not help myself, started crying. I was so happy to see her.
Once at home, more reunions, more embraces with her 3 children, ages 5, 4, and 2.
At first, they were kind of speechless for a second, but then, yeah, I missed you, and they were wondering why I had been gone so long.
This picture capturing the family's first meal together in months, and LaToya fulfilling her youngest daughter's request, painting her nails. LaToya Crabb was arrested and jailed October 21st after Manassas police say she shot her estranged husband multiple times in the couple's bedroom. Crabb's defense attorneys say the fatal gunfire came just days after Curtis Crabb allegedly sent threatening text messages. One reading, "I'm not playing around. I will hurt everyone in that house, then set it on fire." LaToya says she acted in self-defense. Her attorneys say Curtis cornered her holding a knife. She says behind bars, initially in solitary confinement, she felt hopeless.
Honestly, there was a point where I almost thought I should have just let him kill me.
But she says once she could start reconnecting with family and friends through calls, letters, and video visits, her resolve changed to be with her kids again.
Everybody who knew me and automatically believed that, I wouldn't have ever done anything except for in self-defense. It changed my hopefulness and mentality about the situation, that I'm very grateful that I'm still alive, that all of my family members are still alive.
LaToya Crabb is due back in court Thursday, where prosecutors say they plan to dismiss the murder charge she's currently facing, but they also say then they plan to take their evidence to the grand jury next month and seek a first-degree murder indictment. Prosecutors say they recently received evidence showing Ring camera video taken around the time of the shooting had been erased. LaToya's family says the cameras are in a living room area, not the bedroom, and only recorded when there was motion. With so much uncertainty ahead, LaToya says she's focused right now on spending as much time as possible with her children. They haven't noticed the ankle monitor beneath her clothing.
And we're just, taking full advantage of the time that we have, because we don't know how much time that's going to be. So I try to hope for the best and just prepare for the worst case scenario.
LaToya says she's hopeful if her case goes to trial, evidence will show she acted in self-defense and that she'll regain her freedom for good.
Now, LaToya Crabb's attorneys say prosecutors offered her a chance to plead guilty and get no more than 15 years in prison. She turned it down.
Well, that was truly heartbreaking. But at the same time, you got to do what you got to do to protect your family. Y'all let me know what you think about Miss Crabb here. Does she deserve to be out here in society with us, taking care of her family and loving on her kids? Or should she be confined to a prison cell for the rest of her life? Is this man the monster that she paints him to be? Those text messages are very damning. Or is his family right? Is he a loving man that loves his kids and loved his wife? And she did the unthinkable. Please, let me know in the comment section what you think. We definitely value your opinion here at Prime Crime Network. And this concludes tonight's episode. I'm your host, Gracious Marlowe. Until next time. Thank you for watching Prime Crime Network, your source for urban and suburban and around the world news. Hit the subscribe, like, and the notification bell